Hi, I'm Sasha, I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Sash.
And I thought my second year would be easier to share, but then they went and made us all wear these things. Instead, this is a live recording onto YouTube. It's a nice joke. I'm really nervous because I've struggled with what people think about me a lot in my recovery. And one of these meetings are like my biggest things. Even to share back to somebody else's share, I have to contemplate what I'm going to share now. I've made a point system for my share because last year I forgot half the stuff that I wanted to share about. I'm not going to focus too much on the mess before, more on recovery for me. So I'll just start. I'm from Cape Town, and I was raised in quite a weird and big family. I've got so far like 12 brothers and sisters. So far, like there's going to be more. I hope not. And I was raised a Christian home. My dad's very quite staunch Christian, and I went through. That was also quite a difficult thing for me. I was complicated with religion. With the God, I kind of thought that He had it out for me in my teen years, and didn't treat me fairly. And it's been a struggle for me, and I kind of just abandoned that when I was at a young age. But growing up, I had a nice life. I went to a good school, had a nice family. We had some family issues when I was younger that I later used to use as an excuse to behave badly, which I've done a lot in my life, and that's what I do, is manipulate and I'll be dishonest without a program. That's who I am. And I always got told since a young age that, I've got a problem with lying and manipulating. And I never wanted to look at my stuff. I always thought it was other people. At the age of 16, I found my drug of choice. That made me feel really confident, and that going along with drinking, I thought that it made me into a better person. I'm one of those people where I have one glass of alcohol and I change completely. I just changed into a different human being. And I got myself into a lot of bad situations because of that, the drinking and the behavior together. I believe very strongly that alcohol and drugs is not my problem. My behavior is, and I proved that to myself in my 2 years of being clean and sober. Countless of times. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, I guess. And when I was 16, a situation happened with my sister's husband at the time where I was sexually abused. That kind of strung off a lot of bad behavior for me because that gave me a reason to be crazy, and I kind of used that in a lot of my relationships, with my boyfriends, and it wasn't nice. I used to use that against them, and it's not a fair thing to do. I was constantly a victim throughout my whole life, no matter what the situation was, even if I was completely in the wrong, it wasn't ever my fault. I would sometimes say it is, but I never really truly believed it. I always wanted to blame other people, and but if they didn't do this and they didn't do that, then this wouldn't have happened to me, and I wouldn't have acted like this, and I wouldn't have done that, and it's been a struggle to learn that, to not do that, and anyways, things got really bad when I was in 2013, one of the biggest nights that I think it sprung off a really bad patch for me in my disease. I went out and I was in a relationship at the time and he was away, and things like I went out to go drink and I used, and I was behaving badly and flirtatious, and I gave a guy a lift home. And that night I got raped, and that's really destroyed me. And I think, looking at it now, I spoke about it the other day, the reason why it destroyed me so much is because, oh no, don't hit a blank at this point. Because I hated myself because I knew that 50% of the fault was mine. You don't go as a woman alone and give a guy a lift home thinking, I just want to carry on drinking and using, and something like that happens to me. And my dad even said to me, he was like, why the F did you even do that? That's stupid. Obviously that's going to happen to you. And but that just fueled me. It destroyed my relationship I was in. I just took it out on him. I blamed a lot of it on him, blamed a lot of it on my family. Meanwhile, everyone was just trying to love and help me, but telling me the truth made me really, really angry, and I didn't want to hear it because I didn't want to look at myself. As an alcoholic, I never want to look at myself, ever. And that kind of spiraled out of control. 2013, I left him, and I got into a really dysfunctional relationship for the wrong reasons, for money and security. And it was about 4, 5, 6 weeks and I was using a lot for days on end, shutting out my family, turning my phone off, not wanting anybody to care for me anymore, and thinking that I know best. I love that. I always think I know best, sorry. And I booked myself into treatment. I remember I phoned the boss of the treatment center, and I asked him to please give me a number that I can phone to go get help. And I'll never forget, I was so crazy, and in my disease, I threw a farewell party to go to rehab. I still can't believe I did it. Some people were like, it's mad and we're not going to come. And I was like, F them, they're not my real friends. It's insane. Who throws a party to go away to rehab when you've destroyed people's lives and been such a horrible person? I don't understand it, but anyway, that was crazy. And I came into treatment. Now, my perception of treatment is when you watch on the E channel, when Lindsay Lohan goes into rehab and makes some arts and crafts. And does horse riding, canoeing, and getting time for herself and to recuperate. You know what I mean? That's what I thought it was. And I got a massive rude awakening when I arrived. I got told that I could bring my laptop and my cell phone so I could watch series to go to sleep to. And I could do some of my work and everything. And as I got there, I remember Brian was the one that checked me in. They took that all away from me, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, how am I going to cope without a cell phone and without my computer? And I kind of thought, okay, cool, that's fine. I'm just here for 21 days. I think that's what everybody thinks. And then you end up staying. I got to, the first few weeks I didn't really know what I was doing. I got told straight off the bat in my first week that I'm extremely manipulative, dishonest by my sponsor. I thought sponsors were somebody that paid you to go to rehab and give you money to go out. But that's not what Annie was at all. She was there to tell me my reality and my truth, which I never really had. I had soft love, especially from my dad. He was very soft and very easy to manipulate, and I took advantage of that. They tried to tell me my truth, but if I wasn't being honest, how can you tell me my truth? If I was lying constantly, people would ask me, am I using? And I'd look them straight in the eyes and be no. Meanwhile, I hadn't slept for 3 days, so in treatment, concern groups came along, and I didn't get concerned for the first, 4 or 6 weeks, and I thought, yes, I'm succeeding at this, this is it. There's nothing I'm doing wrong, and and then there just came a patch of concern groups that were just at me. I even got concerned when I wasn't there, which really confused me. I was like, how dare they do that? I wasn't even there. But I was like that. Even in treatment, I was manipulative, dishonest, and the way I spun things and turned things, it's like I don't even why I do it, but that's who I am. That's my disease. Without a program, that's the person I am. And I did my life story, and I remember crying while I was writing my life story, all dramatic and woe me, this has happened to me. And I sat down for my feedback, and it was, I heard some other people's feedbacks, and they were bad, and I was I was shocked. And I was so angry, and I still lied after my life story, and I'm like, no, I'm not angry. It doesn't bother me, and I'm fine. Meanwhile, I was furious inside because all those people there, they actually loved me. For the first time in my life, I was loved, and I was told my truth, very brutally, honest truth. And I discovered that I'm not a victim. Do you know what I mean? That things happen to me in my life for a reason, and that if I can get over them and deal with them, I can help others. And that's what this is all been about. In treatment, I struggled a bit. I got a bit frustrated towards the end. I stayed 3 months. I remember I was on the phone sitting outside, and I was like, I'm coming home, and I've got my flight booked and everything. And I got told I have to stay 6 months. And I was like, I don't want to do that. That's too long and everything. And eventually, I did give in. I was like, okay, cool. If I have to do this for 6 months and the rest of my life, I can have a way to live and steps that help me, then what is 6 months really out of the rest of my life, and how much it'll help me. So I did that, and I went down to Cape Town. to fetch my car and pack my car up and drive up with my sister. And in going to Cape Town, I started being dishonest. I started emailing people who I shouldn't be emailing and lying about it. And I got caught out, as you do in the house. People notice. Like, that's all we can do. We can spot other people so far, but I struggle to see myself. And other people started to notice the change in me. Well, there's particularly one man that just noticed it every concern group. I was like, I really didn't like him very much, but he was always right. And I got picked out, and I got into a situation where I had to write a dishonesty list because I was in tertiary. I was au pairing and coming back in the evenings. And I got told I need to book back into primary treatment. I was not happy about that because I finally got my car, a little bit of freedom, could drive and listen to music, and I was like, this is not so bad. I'll just come back, sleep at the treatment center, have my base to go home to, and I messed that up a bit. I messed it up because of who I am. I let go of my program. I stopped being honest. Started taking advantages of the freedom I had, and I got myself in a mess. And that situation came. I'll never forget. I was sweeping the room where Don does his talks in the mornings, and I was talking to another member in the house, and they were saying just book back in, Sasha. Just book back in and just do as you're told, and you won't regret it. And I was like, no. If that, they can't control me, blah, blah, blah. And I even went and I sat down with Josh in the office, and we had quite a big discussion about it, and I was like, no, I'm fine to leave, I'm fine. And I think that's one of the biggest things I've learned in recovery is that when I think I'm fine, I'm really not fine. That's when I need to listen to everybody else in the house telling me the same thing. So the next morning, I slept on it, and I thought about it, and I spoke to Brian. Brian's been there for quite a lot of the big moments of my recovery. And I said I would stay. And then I got released. So after all of that turmoil of trying to come to the fact that I'm going to do those morning walks again, I'm going to have to do everything again, my steps again, all 89 questions of step 1 again, I finally gave in. And I think that's when I finally accept what I have to do, even though I don't want to do it, and accept God's way, things work out. And that's been predominant in my recovery. Another thing that happened to me in treatment center, I came in that dysfunctional relationship with the security of money, and I didn't want to let go of that. And up there, they don't make you leave people. The decision was given to me, and I kind of didn't want it. I used to tell my sponsor, please can't you just email him, just drop the bomb. And she wouldn't do that. I had to do that for myself, and I went out for the weekend. And being sober and stuff, I discovered how mad I was and what I was doing, and I was handing my self-worth over. And self-worth being a big part of my recovery, I lost it, in active, and I've lost it in recovery. I didn't think I would even lose it in recovery. And to build that up, it's not easy, My biggest fear is being alone. It's got to be my biggest, and my financial fears are my other biggest fear. And to work on that stuff has not been easy. I still struggle with it today. A lot. And now my points will come out. Okay. One thing I haven't been good at in active is being a friend. Extremely selfish. I think I only have one friend kind of that's still left from active. We don't talk that much because we kind of drifted apart, but I was very selfish. It was always my issues, and I'd always come and speak about my stuff, never caring about the other person. And, I made my first friend in recovery, was Candace. And, we've been through quite a lot together. It hasn't been easy. I don't like confronting people when I have an issue with something. I rather run away and go make another new friend, and that's the easier way of getting out of it. And also women, been a massive issue for me. Not liked women, and getting into recovery, I've learned how to get over that stuff. And I get such a dry mouth sharing. That's the worst thing ever. And Candace and I, she's really taught me how to be a friend a lot, and so have a lot of the other women, and I've never had that before in my life. They give me my reality, and they love me unconditionally, through all the shit that I've done. And for me, that means so much to me. Also, in my recovery, sometimes I go through patches where I think I'm normal, where I think I don't need this anymore, and I'm not an alcoholic. I've just recently went through that patch very, very recently, and I don't think that I need it anymore. And I think, why must I sit in meetings and hear the same thing over and over again? And I think I'm special and I'm different. And I'm telling you, it's like the God of my understanding knows, because he will just bring everything to me. Like these last 3 days, my fridge is broken. I went to Mozambique and I came back to rotten crayfish. If everyone knows what that smells like, my God, it's like the worst thing ever. So that broke. My laptop then broke. My cell phone then got smashed yesterday, and I was just like, I was at my end. And all before my 2-year share, I'm like, why is this happening to me? And God seems to, there's many examples where I've thought that I'm normal and I'm okay and I don't need it, and I get in a mess. And during that mess, I damage a lot of people because I'm a nightmare, and it's never worked out for me to think that I'm normal. So I'm happy to be back in a meeting. Also, in my first year, I took myself very seriously. I cared a lot about what other people think. I still do. It's a bit less now, to be honest. It's like I thought it would be gone by 2 years, and a lot of the time, I didn't follow suggestion. I got in a relationship in my first year. That was a massive thing, that I cared a lot about what other people thought about me, and what they thought about me and my relationship. And it's been a struggle, and it still is today. I haven't gotten over it. But yeah, it's just like letting that stuff go. And people can say, oh, let it go, let God. And I'm like, it's not that easy. It's like about trying to do it, And just by doing this share, I think is gonna help me to do that. Another thing is my work. I worked as a photographer, like in the film industry, before I came in. I was never a really good worker. I did very well for like 2-3 months, and then I'd like bomb out and then come back and promise the world. And in recovery, I've had jobs where I got pay, like they don't pay very well here in Scotland. And I got to work, for not a very good salary. And that was, for me, I had to humble myself to do that, because I'm used to like working and having money and everything. And what it's taught me is how to budget, and how to be responsible with my finances and not go overboard, because I used to do that and then get myself into trouble. And last year, October, I got let go from my job. And I had to find a place to live, and that was like hectic for me, because that's both security things. It's like my home and my job, and I didn't understand why that was happening to me. And now sitting here a few months later, I've got my own business, and I don't even know how it's been possible or how it's happened. Every month I think I need to go and get a 9-to-5 job again out of fear, and every month God has blessed me with work. I'm doing what I love. I'm a photographer now, full time. I do weddings and kids and families, and I absolutely love it. I meet new people every single week. I love being a part of people's lives like that, especially on the most special day of their lives. I get to be a part of it and share it with them, and that means the world to me. And I've also struggled a lot with expectations in work. I get a lot of inquiries, and my head goes to, yes, I've booked this job, and this much money is going to come in on this much date, and I get very caught up in that. And yeah, I've had to learn to just let it go. I'm getting a lot better at that now. When people make inquiries, I don't bank on the money and hold them accountable to it. I kind of just let it go and let God take control. And since I've done that, I've been so blessed with work. It's actually, I can't even believe it. I went up to Mozambique now, and I got to do a family shoot there. And like so many people saw my work there, and they've booked me for more work. So I get to also now travel a bit for my work, which has always been like a dream of mine, is to travel and to work. And I never thought that kind of life was possible. But yeah, through AA it has been, and through the help of like my sponsor and friends and the encouragement, also from my family. My mom played a massive part in that role of me starting my own business. I'll never forget the day she told me, just go and do it, and I did one photo shoot, and it's just from then on, she's only ever encouraged me. And I've just done so, like I've been successful, and I'm proud of myself and what I've built with my work. Letting go of expectations on people. I have massive expectations, especially on my partner. It's a massive issue that I have, and it's not easy on him at all. I expect the world from somebody, and yet I don't give the world, and it's been something that gets me into a lot of messes and causes a lot of difficulties in my life. And I struggle to look at it. I struggle to look at the fact that it's me, you know, and I have my sponsor tells me now, you know, that it is me, and I can only control what I'm doing. You know, I can't control what the other person is doing. And yeah, I'm a very controlling person, and I thought that at 2 years I'd be sitting here and sharing how I've changed and how everything is so amazing and perfect. And for me, recovery hasn't been that. You know, obviously there's been so many moments of like pure happiness, and it's damn sight better than my active addiction. Like my worst day in recovery, what do they say, is better than my best day in active, which is true, you know, and I'm still learning that kind of stuff. You know, I wanted to sit here and share that I've changed and I've managed to let go of all expectations of people. I don't really think I will ever. You know, maybe somewhere down the line I will, but at the moment, I still struggle with that. Yeah, for me, I accepted quite early on that I can't drink. You know, I've got no desire to do it. You know, it's like it was a big part of my life. I grew up in a bar, and I enjoyed going out and whatever. But the pain that it brought and all that, it's just not worth it. You know, and I think for the rest of my life, I would rather be clean and sober. You know, and not cause pain on other people anymore. You know, and I live this program just for today because I go through patches, you know, I go through difficult times in my recovery, and what helps me is I just say it's just for today, you know, and I've done that, and I've got into 2 years. I don't know how, you know, I could never stay sober for long periods of time at all, and yeah, that's been a miracle in itself. Yeah, the other thing I shared on that, I'm learning to live in God's plan. You know, sometimes I don't like it. Like the last 3 days with the stinky crayfish, the laptop, and the cell phone have not been easy. You know, like that kind of stuff sets me off on a tangent. And learning to just live life and accept like those difficulties that come my way and the problems that I have, you know, just to get through them and not be so serious about it. You know, because things always get better in my experience. You know, and no matter how bad it's gotten, God's always been there for me, always. You know, my relationship with Him has changed a lot in the 2 years, you know, coming into recovery. I was very anti, like, Christianity and all that stuff, and I got taught in the treatment center that I can have my own higher power, and, you know, and that's helped me a lot, that whole concept in getting through it, and it's been a journey, you know. Sometimes I abandon it and I forget about God, and I think I can do it my way, and as I said before, I get brought to my knees, and yeah, it hasn't been easy, but I know now God has the best interests, you know, at heart, and like I can trust Him. And if I just pray, like He always shows me the way, always, regardless. Responses, been through a few. Some are sitting here today. Bless them, they've been through a lot. And, you know, I'm not an easy person. I know I'm not. I was dishonest for 2 weeks to my sponsor my first year. I got into a dishonest relationship. I swear she knew. So I was like, my step 10s were so like drifty and blah de blah, and yeah, lying to her was really difficult. And eventually I came out with it, which helped me in my future because I'm so scared to tell my truth to my sponsor because I think I'm going to get shouted at, or they're going to like scold me and come down on me, and that's never been my experience. All they've ever done is love me. And I used to do my recovery in a way for my sponsor, like write my step 10s for my sponsor, so I would get that thumbs up or that smiley face emoticon. It's never came. I think it came once. And yeah, like expectations on them, massive expectations, you know, there's they must be there 24/7 for everything, and that's not what sponsors are, you know, at all. You know, I need to live my recovery, and I need to run things past my sponsor, you know, and take their suggestions, which I haven't done at times, and other times I have. And, you know, and I've learned a lot about that. And now my recovery, I'm much more like secure in it, and I don't do my step 10s for my sponsor. You know, I am very brutally honest to my step 10s now. I actually did get a compliment about them the other day. She said that they were really honest, and I was like, yes. And I even got like a smiley face. I was like, I am succeeding. And yeah, like I've let go of that kind of stuff because it's at the end of the day, it's my recovery. You know, if I'm going to lie in my step 10s, like, the only one that I'm shooting in the foot is myself, not them. You know what I mean? They don't really care if I'm lying in my step 10s. And yeah, my relationship with my current sponsor is really good. She couldn't be here today. She's away, which is cool. I was a little bit sad about it, but it is what it is. And yeah, I meet her for coffee now, and I'm making an effort, and it's like an ongoing relationship, and I stay in touch. I don't leave it for long periods of time, and then when the shit hits the fan, I phone and I'm in a mess and go on, and I try to regularly stay in contact with her. Step 10s, I did religiously for 18 months, and I've struggled the last 6 months to do my step 10s, and I feel very guilty about it. I forget to do them. I fall asleep on the couch, and then I get up to go to bed, and then I'm like, I'm not doing my step 10s now because now I'm half asleep, and it's just I'm trying. The last 6 months haven't been easy with step 10s, and all I can do is try, and I don't like sharing about that kind of stuff because I want everyone to think that I'm doing everything perfectly, which I'm definitely not. Also, letting go of what others think of me in recovery. Been a massive thing. They always say people won't judge you unless you give them something to judge you for, and I've given people a lot of stuff to judge me for. Shush, guys. And I've done some really, really mad stuff in my recovery, and I've cared a lot about what people think, and I've kept myself back because of that, and not wanting to really share about it. And that kind of stuff, and it hasn't benefited me. And I've learned that in AA, everybody accepts you for who you are. You know what I mean? When you think you've done something so bad and terrible, I build it up in my head that I'm like this is the worst thing. Nobody else in Scopper has done something like this. And meanwhile, and then I've shared with somebody, and they share something even more madder, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'm fine. I'm good to go. It's okay, not that bad. But I am actually that bad. Helping others, it doesn't, before I came into recovery, I didn't really like to help others. I was quite a hard person. I didn't like to cry or be sensitive about stuff, and in recovery, I've learned how to be like that, how to love others, and how to be loved, and it hasn't been easy at all. And now, I enjoy it. This girl contacted me the other day. She's relapsed, and she asks for my help. I've never had that before. I've never had people reach out to me and ask me for advice when they're going through stuff. I was always the person that advice was being given to, and I was taking it and never giving anything back. AA has taught me how to do that. I can't really think of anything else. I think that's it. Keeping it short. Thank you.
Thanks, Sasha.